Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We have big news today, but also big rumors. I will share both with you in just a few minutes. We also did get some surprising data via the Fed as well as the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index that really just took me by surprise. Tesla stock is currently trading higher, 0.70%, in a very volatile trading day, and we will look at the option activity, the short position, and much more. Oh wait, did I mention ASML early reported on earnings and the stock got destroyed, which sent Nvidia down about 5% today as well, which is a big deal. Okay, so I don't really know where to start, so let's start with the Tesla news and rumor, because honestly, I think all of this stuff is really important. Let's start with the Tesla rumor today, and it's being rumored that Tesla could be doing business soon with Salesforce for not full self-driving, not a Tesla car, but for the Optimus bot. It's being reported that there's speculation that Salesforce might be an early user of the Tesla bot because of its advanced autonomous capabilities. Now, I have no idea if this rumor is true or not, so yes, take it with a grain of salt for now, but Tesla stock did marginally move higher on this speculation. So there was a slight reaction to Tesla stock, but I think the broader markets are taking this as well with a grain of salt. Now, this news is huge. I think it's beneficial both for Tesla and for, you guessed it, Uber. Uber's CEO says competing with Elon Musk is no easy matter. Go figure, right? That's the last person you'd want to compete with. Elon's gonna win that any day. Uber says that they would love to partner with Tesla on robotaxis. Quote, obviously, competing with Elon Musk is no easy matter, and we take nothing for granted. We really want to partner with the autonomous industry, he told the Financial Times in an interview that aired Tuesday. That is Uber's CEO that just said that. He sees three potential paths for Uber once Tesla launches its robotaxis: competing with the EV giant, working with Musk's company to have its autonomous vehicles on its network, or combining the two. Uber's CEO said, quote, it's up to what Tesla does, but that Uber already has lots of its EVs on its platform, which he said drivers love. He added, we'd love to have it on the platform, but if not, I don't think this is going to be a winner-take-all marketplace. We believe in the spirit of partnership. We'll see what Tesla does. And this is the actual headline of the article posted by the Financial Times. It says Uber's CEO says competing with Elon Musk is no easy matter and would love to partner with Tesla on robotaxis. Now, I know some people are going to say that's not good for Tesla to partner with Uber, blah, 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 blah. But let me tell you this. Do you know how difficult it is to get people as a collective unit to en masse sign up for a product? Okay, we're not talking 1 million or 2 people. We're talking about 100 million people, 200 million people. Do you know how difficult that is to do? There's only a handful of different things or products or services that have ever been able to do that. We're talking TikTok, we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I guess if you want to include like a PayPal or Square, right? Cash App. Like, it's very difficult to get people to do this, especially if a lot of people are not Tesla owners. Yes, sure, some people may want to take an autonomous, taxi ride, but there's the aspect of actually people knowing that a robotaxi service is available once that's available. Tesla, let's be honest, does not have a PR team. They do not do really advertising the way that they should or could. It's going to take some time before people even know Tesla's robotaxis exist. And on top of that, getting people that are not Tesla owners to sign up and download a Tesla robotaxi app is not going to be an easy thing to do. So if we're thinking about the timeline of actually getting the robotaxi network to something that is mass market that people know about, I think partnering with Uber there would make a lot of sense, because I think in all reality, I think people would opt to have an autonomous ride over a driver. I mean, me personally, I have actually never took an Uber, but if I was going to, I would rather not have the driver that I need to communicate with, deal with. I would rather just plug in the info where I'm going and have the car take me, as long as it's similar or better, safety standard than a driver. Plus, for someone like me that has never done an Uber, most people I know have never done an Uber. I live in Michigan. It's not a huge thing to Uber places. I think a lot of people, are kind of like me. They don't trust other drivers. I'm driving. If I'm going somewhere, I'm driving because I can control it. Now, if a car is perfect, is a perfect driver or better than a human, I would much prefer to go down that route. So, while I know some people do not like the prospect of partnering with Uber, they don't think it's necessary, and long term it's not. But for a couple of years in the beginning, it would really speed up the launch of robotaxi rides. It will take many years to get millions of people to download the robotaxi app. So don't be surprised if there does come news in the not so distant future that Tesla is partnering with Uber, because all of the economic benefits suggest that Tesla should partner with Uber. Now, in other news today, Polestar delivered around 11,900 electric cars in Q3 2024, down 17% year over year. It's also 1,250 fewer than in Q2 of 2024. This is leading Polestar's new CEO to reevaluate Polestar's current strategy. And apparently Fiat has just started running this new advertisement for their new Fiat vehicle that is literally a free advertisement for the Cybertruck. Like, I think this is a better ad for the Cybertruck than the Fiat. I mean, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, but the clear winner is the Cybertruck. Apparently, EVs accounted for 8.9% of total auto sales in the US in Q3, the highest ever on record, marking an increase from 7.8% during the same period last year, according to Cox Automotive data. Tesla's Cybertruck was the third best-selling EV in the US in Q3 2024, overtaking the Ford Mustang Mach-E. The Cybertruck also sold more than 2.3 times more units than the Ford F-150 Lightning, according to, again, Cox Automotive data. The Model Y was number 1, and the Model 3 was number 2. That's not a huge surprise. The $100,000 Tesla Cybertruck sold 16,692 units, and that outsold the combined sales of all of these other EV pickup trucks in Q3 combined: Ford F-150 Lightning, Hummer EV, Rivian R1T, and GMC Sierra EV. Elon Musk reshares Sawyer Merritt's post and says the Cybertruck is just such an awesome product. You don't realize how fun and useful it is until you buy it. Tesla's energy site, comprised of 53 megapacks, is now energized in Valheerhane, Belgium. Belgium's biggest battery, 200 megawatt hours, 50 megawatts, has completed its 3-day energization procedure. Site is fully operational less than 1 year after the first shovel hit the ground. Elon Musk posts on X, "It is important in this often difficult and troubled world for there to be things that also inspire and make you feel great to be part of humanity." That really has nothing to do with Tesla, but I think it's some wise words of wisdom. Tesla has officially filed for a trademark application for Robobus and Robotaxi on October 10th, 2024. Which is kind of crazy. Nobody trademarked the word robotaxi until now. Tesla has a new job opening for virtual reality teleoperation of its Optimus humanoid robot, the Tesla Bot. Under the job posting, it says, quote, "We rely on imitation learning to train Tesla Bot to perform new tasks. This requires collecting thousands of human demonstrations and producing a massive data set that can be used to train our neural networks. To facilitate this data collection, we are building a state-of-the-art VR rig that can be used by our bot operators. This will allow them to seamlessly experience the world as the Tesla Bot does, and remotely operate the bot to perform complex and intricate tasks." And attention, big families in Europe and the Middle East, the Model Y now has 7 seats available with the long-range all-wheel drive trim. Australia is going to trial powering homes with EVs. A Nissan Leaf and bi-directional charger will be used for the trial. Tesla China registered its Model Y in September at 48,202 units of domestic demand, its highest ever since entering the Chinese market. In some pretty wild news today, outside of Tesla, ASML's Q3 bookings came in at 2.63 billion euros. The estimate was 5.39 billion euros. This was a 50% miss today. This caused ASML to fall well over 10%. This also caused Nvidia to trade lower by about 5% today, which is actually causing the S&P to finally come down about 1/3 in the red today. Whereas you can actually see the equal weight S&P is hitting a new all-time high of 0.4%. ASML does see 2025 net sales 30 billion to 35 billion. The estimate was 35.94 billion, so that's not nearly as bad. We did get some very mixed data out of the October Empire Manufacturing Index. It came in at negative 11.9. The estimate was positive 3.6. So we were expecting positive. We came in very negative. Last month was positive 11.5. New orders down to negative 10.2. It was 9.4 prior, so huge positive last month, big negative for October. Well, September, big negative for October. Prices paid up to 29, so very inflationary. And the prior was 23.2, so that's not great. Average work week up to 4.7. It was 2.9 prior. And employment up to 4.1, which you were negative 5.7 prior. So very weird mixed data. Overall, it was kind of bad. Besides the employment segment here, and this is actually the number of employees. So the number of employees finally starting to go positive again, which for the most part over the past 2 years you have been negative, but you just seen a cratering in general business conditions for the manufacturing sector. But within this data from the Empire State Manufacturing Survey, some people are upbeat in the outlook. 6-month ahead diffusion index hit 38.7, the best since late 2021. I would argue this would be because the expectation is the Fed is going to cut rates multiple times over the next 12 months, and that tends to lead to people feeling more optimistic about the future, especially in a capital-intense segment of the economy, which is manufacturing. Also, keep in mind, manufacturing has been in a recession for over 2 years now. Only about 20% of the economy is actually manufacturing based. 80% of our economy is services. So it really doesn't matter to a larger extent if we're thinking about the overall economy. If manufacturing stays bad, doesn't necessarily mean the whole economy needs to be dragged down. It's been bad for 2 years. That has not happened. If we do see a rebound in manufacturing activity, that could actually be a positive, but would that offset some weakening in services? That's still an up in the air question. And pretty much all of your major banks beat estimates. Citigroup had one of the bigger beats coming in with Q3 markets revenue. This is like trading revenue of 4.82 billion. Estimate was 4.6 billion. Investment banking revenue came in at 934 million. Estimate 874 million. And net interest income came in at 13.36 billion. We did get news today from the New York Fed that September credit delinquency expectations just rose to the highest since April of 2020. New York Fed September 1 year ahead expected inflation came in unchanged at 3%. 3-year expected inflation came in at 2.7% versus 2.5% in August. And September 5-year expected inflation came in at 2.9% versus 2.8% in August. So it looks like inflation expectations are rising a little bit today. And look at that. This is actually crazy. The Dow's down 0.25%, S&P's down 1/3 of 1%, Nasdaq's down 0.74%, 0.74%, but the Russell 2000 is up almost 1% today. 10-year Treasury yields trading down 3 basis points is likely having some of that positive effect on the Russell. The 10-year Treasury yield is at 4.043%. Also, the Russell 2000 tends to lean heavy on banks and regional banks, and clearly following good bank earnings, those regional banks are getting a bit of a push higher today. But there you have it. Yet again, the VIX is moving higher today, up 32 cents, if you will, up to 20.02, which is up 1.62% today. So even though markets continue to hit a new all-time high, the market cap weighted S&P hit a new all-time high yesterday. The equal weight S&P hits a new all-time high today. The VIX continues to stay very elevated, which is kind of weird. You wouldn't expect the VIX to be this high with markets at all-time highs. AP News, citing U.S. officials, says Washington believes it has received guarantees that Israel will not target Iran's nuclear or oil sites. These guarantees are not absolutely certain, and circumstances may change. This is causing oil today to fall about 4.5% after Israel claims they will not target Iran's oil facilities. And I would say this is actually a good thing for markets. This alleviates some of the black swan risk that was had in the Middle East. You know, if Israel were to go crazy and strike Iran's oil facilities, that could have caused a huge spike in oil, which would have certainly pushed us into a recession, aka the black swan event, or perhaps a gray swan event. The Daily says today, if forecasts are met, I see 1 or 2 more rate cuts this year, and that is what is helping to push down 10-year Treasury yields today. Nvidia shares were also just not doing well in the beginning of the trading day today before ASML early reported on earnings. Keep in mind, ASML was not scheduled to report earnings until tomorrow morning, which they are a European company, so that really would have been like overnight, early morning trading hours, but they decided to, again, report earnings early. But nonetheless, Nvidia was already down 3.7% in early trading today after a report that says US is mulling capping Co's AI chips exports to some countries. So more of that export control limitations on Nvidia. And apparently ASML says it accidentally posted its Q3 earnings on its website due to a technical error. I guess that's what happens when you're using AI and algorithms to send out reports and to do data collection, and it decides to, well, do its own thing. With that said, over on StockTwit, sentiment for Tesla stock today is bullish at 66. Yesterday, it was neutral at 48. Message volume today is normal at 51. Yesterday was low at 43. And the participation ratio today is high at 56. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google, with what looks like all 4,000 ads of which being run in the US. Global inventory numbers are pretty consistent for the Model Y at about 7,700 or so, the Model 3 at 5,200, the Model X at 3,300, and the Model S at 2,100. Short interest on Tesla sits at 2.67%, which I know a lot of you guys say that's low. That's actually really high for a company the size of Tesla. Now, it was a lot higher. Hedge funds institutions have grown more bullish on Tesla, which is a good sign for you guys as Tesla stock investors. You now only have $16.25 billion sold short in Tesla stock, which is still a lot. Like that's up there with one of the most shorted stocks by dollar amount in our entire market. Now, if we take a look at the amount of shares sold short, that sits at 74.14 million. You can see on the day today, there's a lot of short covering. You have return shares of 1.78 million and borrowed shares of 376,000. That means today you're seeing about 1.4 million shares that are being covered on. Option activity is more positive than negative yet again today, although you haven't been as positive as we were before the robotaxi event, you're starting to see this recover somewhat, with still a lot of dollars flowing into these options. You have seen 44 different trades today, totaling $40.56 million, with a positive order value of 62%. We will talk about Tesla a little bit more from a technical perspective in the next video, but Tesla's stock doesn't look all too bad. You found support now for 3 days at the 100-day moving average. If Nvidia goes lower, that's going to cause the S&P to fall. That could weigh on Tesla. Even though it's not today, Nvidia is down 5%. Equal weight S&P's hitting a new all-time high. Things are fine there. Tesla's up 0.6% at the time of recording this video. It could be a factor that could start to weigh on Tesla. It's something we want to watch closely if Nvidia and semiconductors start to lead a broader correction. But just from a simple technical perspective, I mean, Tesla stock should be finding support here. As it is, there's a couple different ways you could draw this trend line. You could connect the absolute low down here that you've seen at 138, line that up to some of the lows that we are at now, and no matter which way you really wanna connect the lows, you're still coming to a conclusion that this is a reasonable support level for Tesla. If we were to see a break down from here, that would be a very bad sign, and you'd likely fall at least to that $200 level, which is where your 200-day moving average currently is. But again, more on the technicals in the next video. I just want to say things do look good for Tesla. This does look like a support that will likely hold unless the markets get weaker. So let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.